Do not be an Instagram guru in 2026. If Instagram is one of the primary or your primary client acquisition channels, you need to be very, very careful about how you're moving forward. Coming from someone who actually spent the past few years making a living of helping education businesses scale with content marketing, with short-form content, I realized that short-form content is dying out. And I've been seeing the diminishing effectiveness of short-form content for the past few years. And it's not because you can't generate any results with it anymore. You can still generate results and create revenue. We had a bunch of clients last year in 2025 who actually gained hundreds of thousands of followers. But the things that was required to actually get that type of results was less than ideal, to put it simply. Running the business like that in order to get that growth through short-form content honestly sucked. And the business owners didn't like their business. I didn't like helping running their business. It's not really a situation you want to be in, especially in 2026, because the diminishing effectiveness of short-form content is here, and you can't really argue that. And I'm sure that you felt it yourself if you're posting on short-form platforms, because there's so many people out there now. It's so saturated. Everybody is an expert. Everybody has their 3 steps to do this and do that and do that. And it's just hard to stand out from the noise because the barrier to entry is so low with short-form content. That's what most people go to. That's where most people start. And that's where most people stay. But that's the problem. Because it's so low barrier to entry and because everybody can seem like an expert, it becomes difficult for the actual viewer, for the potential client to actually pick who's credible or not, who's the actual expert. They just get drowned in the noise. But the real experts, the ones who are winning today's game, those are not the ones that do more short-form content than the rest. Those are not the ones blowing up on TikTok. Those are the ones who figured out a way to stand out. And the way to stand out is, let's imagine that everybody in your space, whatever niche you're in, watching this video right now, you have a certain offer, you have a certain product you're promoting to a certain demographic. There's tens of thousands of other peoples having a similar offer, a similar philosophy, and a similar ICP. But you're all screaming on top of each other because you're all standing in the same place and you kind of look alike. And you kind of say the same things. Even if your approach is a little bit different than most of the rest of the markets, it's difficult to kind of get the nuance and the little difference in 30-second clips. It's just not possible for most people to spot you out. So you're all standing in the same place, kind of looking like each other, saying the same things with a megaphone, trying to yell over the other guy. And there's just thousands of people yelling at the prospects with megaphones. So even though you're trying to say something a little bit different, even though you're not renting a Lamborghini and saying, buy my course, you still don't really stand out because it's just not possible for the viewer to weave you out. And not to act like I'm the guy with all the solution. I'm just the guy on the internet, right? But if you take a look at your industry and you think about who's the top dog in your industry, who's the industry leader, where do you know him from? Do you know him from TikToks? Do you know him from his ads? Or do you know him from some form of long-form content? I'm guessing it's some form of long-form content, whether that be YouTube, whether that be a live streaming or podcasting. It's definitely some form of long-form content. And it's been that way. And it's going to only keep getting more like that as we move on, as AI is disrupting everything, as the trust recession keeps getting worse. So think about it. If short-form content is the lowest barrier to entry and everybody's doing it, everybody's sounding the same, trying to scream on top of each other, why not move to where there's less competition? Why not do things differently so you actually stand out and kind of follow in the footsteps of the real thought leaders? Because you can't become an expert. You can't become the go-to guy in your space without having some form of long-form presence. It's just, short-form is just not enough to build the trust required to do that. The authority. We all heard of the 7-20-10 rule or whatever. Like Google did that research and they said the average buyer needs about 7 hours of content before they actually buy something. Now, is that always the case? Of course not. Maybe it's an average. But the fact is, the more people watch you, the more they receive you as the authority, the more you can actually install your beliefs in them, the more they actually trust you and feel comfortable spending their money with you. But when you have only short-form clips, 30-second clips, where people watch on average 8 seconds of it. You're never going to get to the 7 hours rule. That's like 400, 500 videos. It's not going to happen. Meanwhile, there's other people out here who are doing things completely opposite, where they're going live for 1 hour at a time, almost like a webinar, but as content, teaching people, installing their beliefs, teaching them how to do X, Y, and Z, and then they do the CTAs on the back of it. So if you really think about it, what is it that most people are lacking to be able to generate more sales? It's usually trust. It's usually belief in you as the expert or your way of doing things, because there's so much noise, and the potential buyer is just being bombarded from all different sides and angles with different offers promising X, Y, Z. So many promises, so many offers. Thank you, Alex Hormozi. But regardless of that, big offers, big guarantees is not really enough anymore, because they're everywhere. People don't even trust them. Like, I can say, give me my offer costs 10K and you'll make 15K by tomorrow, guaranteed, or I'll work with you until you do and also give you more money. People don't trust it anymore. They have to believe in you and your way of doing things. So how do you actually build up that trust? The future lies with those who can not only generate attention, but keep it long enough to actually build up that trust, long enough to make an impact. And short form content really only became a thing a few years ago when it came out. And when someone new comes out, a new feature comes out, it always works very well in the beginning. You get asymmetrical return. You can do a little bit of effort, post some videos, and get a lot of results from it. But as more and more people get onto it and start doing it, you get diminishing effectiveness of it. So most people jumped on because the barrier to entry was so low, but still, as now, just as much as it's always been, the biggest people in the space were still doing the highest leverage thing, which is these long form types of content. And now that AI is on the rise and there's actually AI presenters acting like they are real people, making podcast clips like this, making short form content, presenting, the short form content space is cooked, honestly, because you can't even tell the difference. I've seen some of them blow up in the last few weeks, getting hundreds of thousands of followers out of nothing. AI, not even real people, or also real people who are just using AI to present their short form content. It's not even them talking anymore. It's just deep voice, fake, whatever that thing is called. Now that those kind of things are happening, it's going to be even more noise. It's going to be even more difficult to stand out. So if you're not already focusing on how can I stand out from the noise now, how can I move in the right direction, you will be left out. Because if you're not in the AI space, if you're in the AI space, cool. You can probably stay in the short form space. You can probably benefit a lot from it, because you're either in the AI space or you're in the completely opposite realm where you have to be more focused on the human connection, more focused on authenticity and building that trust, because there is no one in the middle. People in the middle get left out. So if you're in the AI space, cool. If you're not, you got to go all the way over here to separate yourself from what's happening over here. And that's the type of audience you're going to get. You're going to get the type of audience that don't want this stuff. They want the real stuff. So if you're doing the real stuff, be over here. Don't be in the middle. Don't keep posting short form content and stay in that little content loop where you have to keep up. So you're doing so much work and you're always working in your business, but you never have time to work on your business. That's not where you want to be. Not in 2026 and not moving forward. And my prediction is, because what people are searching for on this side is the most real, most authentic, most humanly possible thing, my estimation is that live streaming is going to be the next big thing. And we've seen it already happening in other spaces apart from the business space, where it's not the next big thing, it is the big thing. But I think it's coming to the business space now. We're seeing some entrepreneurs already starting to do it. And actually, let me go pull up a video, because I saw a video of Alex Hormozi talking about this recently. And I think he made a strong point that's in the same realm. Let me find it and pull it up. All right, so I think I found it. Let me actually give you some context, because I'm like kind of jumping in on a video here. This is a video of Alex Hormozi talking about his content strategy for 2026. And he's going to tell a short story. I think I'm just going to skip to the point where he tells it, where he talks about where he thinks the market is going and why he thinks it's going there from an actual real life experience. So I'm actually just play the clip and let it roll.
So if you guys are like, what's Alex's kind of like media strategy for the future? I'm focusing on 2 words. You can write this down: live, interactive. Those are the 2 things that is describing the ACQ 3.0 or Mozy Media 3.0 vision for what's going forward, like that is what I'm focusing on. And I'll tell you a story of why I think this is so interesting. So I had a conversation with a mega influencer. I don't think you would mind, with Mr. Beast a few weeks ago. And we were talking about kind of like the future of media and content. One of the things that he was just talking about was the soccer game that came up, that they do like UK versus US. What ends up happening is that they have all these different celebrities or influencers from different platforms, right? And so starting from the lowest people on this little totem pole, they would walk out in the stadium, and this became the kind of the de facto like measuring stick for who had the most cool points, right? These are the A-listers. And so this is your typical kind of celebs from like movies and like 90s and the 2000s or whatever, right? People like they recognize because they're celebs, but like they don't have like huge, I guess they have some media presence, but it's more like traditional media. The level of applause for these guys was almost nothing. Barely anyone cared. So then the next level that came up was the shorts creators. So this is your like only TikTokers or people who only make reels, but like only short videos. And so they had a little bit more applause on the applausometer compared to the A-listers. Then the long form guys came out. And this is when the audience got way rowdier. All right, so this is your podcasters, your YouTubers, the people who make long form pieces of content. And I'm going to pause here for a second. Back to our little story. A-listers have almost no applause. Shorts have slight applause. Longs have legit applause. Then the live streamers. When the live streamers came out, it was like the entire auditorium or stadium or arena erupted. And when I heard that, it was such a visual example of, I mean, we have this saying, which is like butts and seats. If you just make a bunch of like meme content, right, you demonstrate almost none of these things. Some of you guys are chasing views when what I think you want is you want to have prospects who are more likely to comply with a future request. And so we need to change our behavior to maximize the likelihood that occurs. And so in looking at this.
So I'm actually going to stop it right there because I want that little illustration because it says a lot. So what I was talking about is short form, the influence and the effectiveness of that getting smaller. That crowd noise, that cheer would have been bigger a couple years ago. It's shrinking very fast. Just like A-lists also have been shrinking fast since social media, since shorts and long became a thing. But long is still good. But as you see, live streamers were just on another level. Let me make myself a little bit bigger since I'm talking so much. If you are trying to become master at just one thing, do that one thing. Keep doing short form. But if you're a business owner and you're trying to scale, you don't have that much time. You don't want to spend all day creating Instagram content, studying Instagram content, becoming the best Instagram content. That's not really what you're in for. If you are, cool. If you're not, and you really just want to promote your business with and make an impact with these platforms, why not take the one that has the most impact? And why not take the one that can actually be clipped up and used to grow your other platforms? Like if you're creating short form content, you're only going to grow on short form platforms. Nothing else is going to happen. But the biggest YouTubers now, the new people coming up, of course, we still have Mr. Beast and that kind of stuff in like the overall like YouTube space. But the new people that are coming up, they aren't blowing up with short form or long form content. They're going live, they're live streaming for hours and hours on end, and then turning that into short form content, turning that into long form content as well. Even the video we are watching right now by Alex, yes, that's a YouTube video and it probably has millions of views, or hundreds of thousands of views, probably 500,000 views, right? In 3 months. That's pretty decent for a YouTube video, and it's probably gotten him a lot of clients. But that's not even a YouTube video. He's live streaming. It just got turned into a YouTube video. Now, if you're watching this on YouTube, see the same thing, right? You don't have to do everything. You only got to do the highest leverage thing to actually get the rest of the totem pole you see right there. He goes live, it gets chopped up, put it onto YouTube, take some part of the YouTube video out and turn it into short form clips, and that's the game. Now, let me actually close this up. So I'm back in full screen mode. If you actually want someone who could go in and do this kind of things for you, so all you have to do is go live, and then my team and I will take care of everything else. There's a link to book a call in the video description below. But aside from that, I think it's clear that the game is changing, and we have to do different actions to get different results. We can't keep yelling over each other with the megaphones. You got to be able to stand out, especially if you have something real. If you want to be amongst the I don't want to say bottom feeders, but if you want to be amongst the big majority of coaches, consultants, mentors, educators, whatever space you're in, if you want to be in that big pocket where everybody is at, stay doing what everybody's doing. If you want to elevate up and get to that highest level and reach that level where only the top dogs play and where most people are actually not even qualified to be, because when you start live streaming or doing long form content in a way that's very real and authentic and not hiding behind a bunch of motion graphics and things popping all over the screen to just distract people and to cover up the fact that you're actually saying nothing. Once you get away from that, people will be able to see you for who you are. And if you actually have any experience and if you know what you're talking about. So if you're not that guy, probably just stay around here because you'll do fine. But if you want to get to that top level, do what most people are not willing to do. Do what most people can't do and actually show your expertise and actually take it to that level, right? If you want to see how the biggest entrepreneurs are actually scaling their business and building these big, massive brands that seems almost impossible to compete with, watch this video now where I actually show you the real strategies that they're using so you can take it and use it to blow up your own business in a way so easy it feels like you're almost cheating. Go ahead and watch the video.